Welcome to Gold Derby. I'm senior editor Denton Davidson here with Emmy winner Wendy O'Brien, casting director for Abbott Elementary, and she's nominated again this year for the ABC comedy as well as the Roku TV movie Weird: The Al Yankovic Story. So, Wendy, congratulations. You've now been nominated a total of 4 times, and you won last year. What was that night like for you when you won for Abbott Elementary, and what does it mean to be back with not one but 2 projects this year?
Well, I'd say it was surreal. It was, truly surreal. And I've been doing this since college, so it's, I guess, 30 years. So I feel like now I can, if and when I retire, at least my parents back home on the farm know, something happened. So that's good because they don't get a lot of the shows that I work on. They don't have cable, or streaming really. But it was great. It was wonderful.
Well, let's get into Abbott Elementary. What was it like to come back for season 2? What are your top priorities this season now that your main cast is already in place? What were your top challenges?
I think a lot of the challenges, probably the hardest challenge was just to continuously find new kids. The good news was that as our season is a school year, so all the kids that graduated from kindergarten moved into the grade one. All the kids from grade one moved into grade two. So it's sort of, they got to stick around, but we still needed to keep populating more kids. And, it's always a challenge once you upgrade them from an extra, you can't go backwards. So we only had the budget for so many that could speak. And a lot of the kids really had earned a spot to get lines. And so it was sort of finding that dynamic of when they could move up or not, which I think was a lot of the times on set. So that was probably the biggest challenge. But then just the success of the show made casting just, we got more incoming calls than outgoing, at that point, which was really nice.
So that relieves the pressure a little bit because people have seen the success of the show now.
Absolutely. And we had so many agents had reached out and just a lot of new fans from season 1. And when we were doing the pilot, it was in COVID. The show hadn't aired. Not a lot of people knew about the show. It was network. It was, we had a couple things that were challenges out of the gate. And so I think by the time we got to season 2, it was just so fluid. And again, it just seemed more and more people wanted to be a part of it or had an appreciation for the show and Quinta and the writing and just the goodness of the show.
And of course, you have Taraji P. Henson, who made quite an impact as Janine's mother. Talk about Taraji coming on board and what impressed you the most about her Emmy-nominated performance?
She probably had the most of any guest star, the most meat in any of the episodes. So I think once she confirmed, really, really, really confirmed, I think, I think they were wise to just write for and to her and her strengths. So it's just, she ate it up. I thought she was fantastic.
And I heard Lauren Weidman almost had the role of Melissa in the original casting process. And that, of course, is played by Lisa Ann Walter. So now you go back and have her playing the sister. Can you explain that a little bit? And how great was that to pull her back into the world of Abbott? And is that something that happens often for you as a casting director, is to have someone and you're like, God, they're great, but I just need to go a slightly different direction, but I'm going to keep that name at the tip of my tongue?
It always happens. That's the great, your repertoire keeps getting bigger and bigger, and people who are close on one show, even with different the same producer, but like 6 years later or 3 projects later, and they remember that actor as well. And so they bring them up, or they have something in mind for them. And they remember the audition you brought them in like 4 years ago. So it does happen. And yeah, Weidman, it was the 2 that we tested at Studio and Network. And it really was, they were both so wonderful. And, Lisa was the one of the day that got it. But I think everybody loved Lauren so much. So when there was an opportunity to fold her into the mix, it just felt perfect.
And great chemistry it led to. I mean, you couldn't have, I mean, uh, can you predict that stuff? Is that just what you sort of cross your fingers and hope for? Or is that just, I mean, it's your talent. You're an Emmy nominated, Emmy winning casting director.
No, I think it's always you hope and you think you know the ingredients and what's going to work. But I think, both of those women are just, they've been doing it a long time. Neither have an ego. They're both funny first. And so if you were to bet money, you would think that that would align and that they would really appreciate each other and respect each other. So I don't know if they knew each other previously, but the writing was on the wall that it should have been good friends.
Talk a little bit about the other roles this season that were the most fun to cast, because you had so many great guest stars. You had Leslie Odom Jr., Ayo Edebiri. I mean, what a great year she's having. So can you walk me through some of the most fun characters to cast this season, and how it differed from last season when you're really trying to start a show fresh?
Mm-hmm. Well, Leslie was, we read so many great people for the Draymond role, and that was a little bit of a different role on the show, in that we weren't trying to find somebody who was funny first. He was a little bit more serious of a character. He was supposed to feel a little out of place from everyone else. So we had great people read, and then Leslie had expressed interest. But he was doing press. So it was really touch and go if we were even going to align the dates, because the role was slated to come back, which makes it even more complicated with the schedule to have somebody, come back 2 months later, 3 months later. So that one was challenging just in trying to lock him in, but we had some really great people reading. I also loved our Ashley.
Yeah.
It was just, she was one of my favorites. She just made me laugh the whole way through it. And she was so great on Curb. Yeah, it felt like we could just have fun and keep exploring kind of wacky personalities that felt real.
You have, so many great credits, but a lot of comedy. What do you like the most about casting comedy? And what's the most difficult thing about it?
Depending on the project, I mean, I enjoy it because I love laughing. So,
That always helps.
Yeah, the auditions are much more fun. But I think, depending on the tone of the show, most of my shows, we don't wink at the camera at all. It's very subtle comedy generally. So it's finding people who can find that mix. And that's what's the great thing about doing drama as well is there's an overlap on shows like, watching The Bear, you just see that overlap so much. So it's really, it's a great time for actors. You can sort of tap into both their strengths for sure, if they have them.
And when you take a moment and just reflect on Abbott Elementary in general and the phenomenon that it has become, what has it been like for you to just be part of this show?
What a gift. It's just been incredible. I mean, I feel like I've worked on, wonderful projects with wonderful people, and it's that lightning in a bottle. The pilots I was sure were going to get picked up didn't, and then just to watch this happen, but then to watch it from a front row seat and just to see so many good people be rewarded. It's really been a career highlight. It's just been a joy.
And when you see people like Taraji and Quinta and Cheryl Lee Ralph and Janelle James and everyone is getting nominated for this show, I mean, does that feel like a win for you as well? I mean, you're helping to do the casting. Obviously, Quinta created the show. You didn't have to cast her, but that has to feel good for you to see people that you've hired, given a spotlight to, and see them shine in this way.
It's wonderful. I mean, it's wonderful to be a part of that, and then to see writing that transforms their characters and talents, and that's spectacular that the writing can continuously grow these characters in such a meaningful way. I think that's been it's great to be a part of that.
Yeah, it's been such an incredible season, and what an evolution, and incredible work you've done. Congratulations, Wendy, and good luck at the Emmys.
Oh, thanks so much. Thank you.